All right, welcome back, everybody, to Halo CE.
Which means that any organism with sufficient mass and cognitive capability is a potential vector. Is something wrong?
No, nothing.
Splendid, shall we? Unfortunately, my usefulness to this particular endeavor has come to an end. Protocol does not allow units with my classification to perform a task as important as the reunification of the index with the core. That final step is reserved for you, Reclaimer. That wasn't supposed to happen.
Oh, really?
Cortana.
I've spent the last 12 hours cooped up in here watching you toady about, helping that thing get set to slit our throats.
Hold on now. He's a friend.
Oh, I didn't realize. He's your pal, is he? Your chum? Do you have any idea what that bastard almost made you do?
Yes. Activate Halo's defenses and destroy the flood. Which is why we brought the index to the control center.
You mean this?
A construct in the core? That is absolutely unacceptable.
Sod off!
What impertinence! I shall purge you at once!
You sure that's a good idea?
How dare you? I'll...
Do what? I have the index. You can just float and sputter.
Enough! The flood is spreading. If we activate Halo's defenses, we can wipe them out.
You have no idea how this ring works, do you? Why the Forerunners built it? Halo doesn't kill Flood. It kills their food. Humans, Covenant, whatever. We're all equally edible. The only way to stop the Flood is to starve them to death. And that's exactly what Halo is designed to do. Wipe the galaxy clean of all sentient life. You don't believe me? Ask him.
Is it true?
More or less. Technically, this installation's pulse has a maximum effective radius of 25,000 light years. But once the others follow suit, this galaxy will be quite devoid of life. Or at least any life with sufficient biomass to sustain the flood. But you already knew that. I mean, how couldn't you?
Left out that little detail, did he?
We have followed outbreak containment procedure to the letter. You were with me each step of the way as we managed this crisis.
Chief, I'm picking up movement.
Why would you hesitate to do what you've already done?
We need to go right now.
Last time you asked me if it were my choice, would I do it? Having had considerable time to ponder your query, my answer has not changed. There is no choice. We must activate the ring.
Get us out of here.
If you are unwilling to help, I will simply find another. Still, I must have the index. Give your construct to me, or I will be forced to take her from you.
That's not going to happen.
So be it. Save his head. Dispose of the rest.
Look out.
I fall down, go boom. But what I wanted to talk about after he was done talking was how ridiculous the plan is to take care of the flood. What we're going to do is we're going to activate Halo, which is going to kill everything in 25,000 light years, which should be more than enough considering, as far as I can tell, the flood is expressly limited to just this ring, this installation, this ring.
Can't let the monitor activate
So
Halo. We have to stop him. We have to destroy Halo.
there's a little thing back here I'm going to click on that's going to better explain that.
Course of action is somewhat risky. An explosion of sufficient size will help destabilize the ring and will cut through a number of primary systems. We need to trigger a detonation on a large scale, however. A starship's fusion reactors going critical would do the job.
So this is a cutscene they added in the anniversary edition.
25,000 light years. That is the effective range of this installation. According to the star charts archived on board this installation, I estimate that there are 3,792 worlds capable of sustaining biological sentient life within that 25,000 light year range. In reality, it may be significantly more than that. And if the full array was tuned and activated by Installation 00, the harmonics of the overlapping waves would magnify that effect exponentially, cascading to cover every known star system. And that only considers the firing of a mere 7 halos. And the original 12 rings survived to see use. Sterilization would spread far further than most Forerunners ever feared we could reach. But even with just 7 rings, we were able to destroy every side of the flower, and every other sentient creature along with it. This victory was the will of our people, despite the fact that it meant our own end as well. But by our pyrrhic measurement, it was a victory, and cleared the stage for the rest of the librarian's plan. I sometimes wonder whether the Didact could have succeeded at a much smaller cost. I learned the folly of opposing him personally, and his brilliance was unsurpassed. Except, perhaps by her own. He never got the chance to fully execute his proposal. The Council saw to that. But if something were to go wrong with one of the halos, if our tools were ever turned against us... Long plans, indeed.
So a lot of what he references is talked about in other Halo lore, but essentially, for those who not familiar with Halo lore, and I'm not very familiar with it either, to the point that I should be even speaking about it right now, but essentially what happened is before they fired the Halo arrays, they took copies of all of the major species in this universe, or in this galaxy, or whatever the range of the Halo arrays were, and basically categorized them so that upon Halo's firing, they could reproduce to the level by which they were currently at. So humans, as sort of a side point, humans were brought during the Covenant, or not during the Covenant, during the I guess they're the Forerunners. I might have that wrong. Basically, there was a group before, I believe, before the Forerunners that basically wanted to hand off the mantle, quote-unquote, mantle of responsibility to human beings, and the Forerunners did not like that. So they basically fought a war with the original human beings and sent them, after they beat them, essentially punished them by sending them back to caveman times, basically regressing their evolution to caveman times. And then the flood popped up after they had done that, resulting in the humans not being around to be able to help them take on the flood. So in a long story short, what ends up happening is there's a couple groups within the Forerunners that I'm thinking I'm getting this right. If I'm naming the wrong group of people, I apologize, because I know there's like the I think it's the precursors and the Forerunners. I believe the precursors were the ones who wanted to hand responsibility off to humanity, and the Forerunners are the ones who opposed that. But essentially, they talk about the Didac and the librarian, and I know more about the librarian because you know, it's just the way Halo went, you know, and they had this like animatrix sort of thing with the Halo lore series, And one of the things they explain is the history up to that point, which involved, like I said, the categorization of all living creatures at that time period, the firing of the halo arrays, which turned every living creature on the planet into nothingness. And then once the flood was completely wiped out, the human beings and other species, such as the Covenant species like the grunts and leets, were all brought back to life, essentially to repopulate their infinite worlds. And then they would eventually get to the point where they are today. But I think part of that plan, and this is the part that I'm not 100% familiar with, is I believe the Didac wanted to remove the flood by installing people inside robots, I believe.
And allow it to fire deep into space. The power levels are enormous. I can't even begin to calculate the pulse's range.
So
if we damage or destroy these generators, the monitor will need to repair them before Halo can be used. That should buy us some time. I'm marking the location of the nearest pulse generator with a nav point. We need to move in and neutralize the device.
I probably should have gone over that ammo drop, because I didn't realize this till later, but I only have 4 reserve shots in my sniper rifle. I believe if I would have gone over that cache dump again of ammo, I would have a lot more than 4 shots. But we'll make do with what we have here. But this is the plan that Cortana came up with is sort of an okay plan. It's in a way, if you were thinking that Halo was going to be a one-off and they weren't going to have any more sequels, I guess you could kind of play it off as, well, you destroy the ring and the Covenant, the remaining Covenant, and well, not all of the Covenant obviously, but the remaining whatever they call that, flood, are stuck here on the planet, and they have not yet, at this point in the series, established the character known as the Grave Mind. So essentially, the flood is more or less like a zombie, where they're working together based on a common quote-unquote zombie goal of essentially turning everything into flood. But as long as they are contained to the Halo array, they can't get off of it, then the concept of destroying the Halo and disrupting the environment and livability on this array you could kind of write that off as being, well, that's just the end of, I mean, it doesn't end the Covenant War per se, but it does end the threat of the flood right now. So you could, and then there's a good example of the shotgun, because I was much closer to the red elite than I was to the blue elite. Took 2 shots versus the 1, even though the blue elite's the weaker of the 2. So anyways, that's a side thought. But, you know, what ends up happening is in the second Halo game, what you run into is the thing they call the Grave Mind, which essentially turns the flood from a zombie type creature into a hive mind, which in terms of science fiction is different. Obviously, the hive mind, you know, wants to make you part of the hive mind. You know, but you don't really have any... You're sort of like a zombie at that point. You know, because you don't have any control over your own individual thoughts. But at the same time, you're a collective instead of an individual per se. So, yeah, that's where we want to get to. And when I go down this ramp, everything that's here, including this, is going to activate. So you'll see everything come to life, including guys just spawning out from behind the rocks here.
Wait, we should commandeer one of those banshees.
Yeah, see how the tank went from nothing to everything? That happens a couple times in this mission, where you'll, particularly when we get towards the end, we'll come upon a large, flat area. Oops, that should have killed me. Like a plateau. And on the plateau, when you first get up there and you look across the other side of the flat area, it looks like the tanks have been destroyed because they're doing that like fizzle thing where they're like on fire. But as you move closer and it loads in, what ends up happening is the tanks come back to life. So instead of being destroyed, they're actually being activated. I don't know how to better explain it. We'll see when we get there. And that's actually one of the areas that I played on the legendary mode. I played so many times that I actually have a legitimate strategy that should work to get us through there without much trouble. I mean, this is possibly one of, when I played legendary mode, this is possibly one of the worst levels I played. I mean, in terms of dying and restarting and dying and restarting. So yeah, we gotta get rid of the tank. I'm not gonna make it to the Banshee unless the tank's dead. So, you gotta hit it 3 times with the... Yeah, it's on fire now. That's sort of what you see when I was talking about the plateau area. You sort of see that these things are on fire, and then all of a sudden you get closer to it, and all of a sudden they're working again. It's like, okay. I'm lucky I'm not dead here. Because there's another, yeah, there's an elite, and there's another grunt fighting, and I don't have any of my shields right now. I'm just kind of lucky that I popped his shield there. Also, I'm lucky that the Jackal didn't, like, overcharge his thing and just kill me outright. When you come to this stage earlier on, let me go backwards a little bit. So this stage is a stage we've already been through, but we're going to do it, now we're going to go through it backwards. So, as you remember, the end of the stage, we ended where I started, in the control room. And now we're starting at the control room, and we're going to work our way back. Not 100% to... not 100% to the, oops. Yeah, I was trying to figure out if I had a speed up button. I don't believe there's any speed up buttons in this game. Luckily, the game checkpointed me right here. So, we're good. I was trying to figure out my buttons, long story short. So, I believe, unless you play on legendary mode, I believe this is the first introduction of grunts with their plasma cannon, which are very dangerous. As you'll see, I don't know if these guys will live long enough for that to matter. But you'll see like a yellow thing shoot out from one of the grunts towards me. And that will basically kill my Banshee in one hit. So what I'm doing now is trying to make sure that everything stays dead. I'm not really worried about the Needler per se. But I can't see whether or not he's wielding a Needler or if he's wielding, say, a rocket type cannon. And whenever you defeat those enemies, unlike in Halo 2, they drop the thing and it explodes. the rocket, the plasma launcher. So
That's the pulse generator. The center core is the signal amplifier. That's what we need to shut down. We need to interrupt the pulse generator's energy stream. I've adjusted your shield system so that it will deliver an EMP burst to disrupt the generator, but you'll need to walk into the beam to trigger it. The EMP blast.
So this is, we have to walk through 3 of these. This is the second hardest one, because what happens is as,
Well done.
yeah, I can do that. If doesn't work super great in a legendary mode, but that's the best strategy to getting out of there. If you're not careful, those things will roast you, and I'm not sure if Covenant, or Halo, or not Covenant, if the Flood come in after you, behind you, or not. But that's like the second hardest one, because the last one that we'll run into, I just have to get to the pulse thing, and once I set off the pulse, the game just cutscenes me to victory. See, there's what I was talking about. That's a plasma cannon, and the grunts carry those. Some of the grunts carry them. It's hard to see unless I get really close up if he has it or not. So what I'm trying to do here, yeah, that would have been nice to would have hit.
That's the way to the next cannon.
So I actually watched a dude just completely break this whole section by basically forcing the Banshee through the door using the fact that this version of Halo is built to have the original graphics from Halo 1 CE and the improved graphics, and what they do is they swap back and forth between the old graphics and the new graphics to basically force the yep, see how you got that cannon, the can explodes? Yeah, you're not allowed to pick that up in Halo 1, just like you're not allowed to pick up the swords the elites carry, which kind of made more sense to me at the time. Why would the elites drop their sword, and why would you be able to use it? You know? So we're gonna get a nice balance between, in this we're gonna get a nice balance between fighting the Covenant, fighting the Flood, and fighting the Covenant and the Flood at the same time. Obviously they don't work together, they work as sort of independent groups, so it's Master Chief versus the Flood versus the Covenant. So it's like a free-for-all, 1v1v1. They hadn't spotted me until that grunt got me. So we're just gonna zip by here because I don't exactly need to. So in the interim between my previous recording session and this one, I actually learned some stuff that I didn't know about the game. For instance, because its plasma pistol is so handy and it gives you so many charge shots / regular shooting shots. It's actually really good weapon. It's like the best or second best weapon in the game, or second or third best weapon in the game is what I should say. This, what I'm holding right now, is the best weapon in the game. This is great against Covenant units because it's specifically designed for it to override their shields and, to basically go right through them. you know, to essentially allow you to jackals are about the only type of enemy that the shotgun's not good against. So by using this combination to overload their shields, and then you can just use regular plasma shot, as you can see, or you can punch them or shoot them with an alternate gun. It's a really good, like, excellent gun to take care of pretty much everything in this game. It works against, obviously, elites, jackals. So, like, right there, I overloaded the elite shield, so I'm going right through to his health. I think the other, like, the three best weapons in the game are first the shotgun, second the plasma pistol, and third is the regular UNC pistol, the Magnum pistol, for many reasons, including one-shotting hunters. It's, like, really good. Plus, for some reason, this is the part I didn't know. Shotgun weapons and the Magnum weapon are super effective against flood units. So, you know, whereas the plasma pistol is really good at eating right through shields, you know, essentially negating the shield portion of the elites, as well as the jackals. The the regular pistol just chews right through the flood's health bar, which is very impressive. And I'm going to probably be using it as we come across this section here with the bridge, because this side right here is going to be pretty heavy on Covenant, but the next bridge is going to be very heavy on Flood. And yes, they are going to jump from one side to the other, so we are going to have to fight some Flood on this side. Good job, Chris. Like I said, we are going to have to fight some Flood, because they are going to jump from left to right, because that's one of the things they do. If we can get through here, that'd be great. But yeah, I didn't know that. I thought basically the two best weapons against the Flood were some combination of either the plasma pistol, the plasma rifle, or I knew the shotgun was good, because the shotgun just eats through everything in this game.